So we're live on Facebook now. We just wait for the audience to come in to the Zoom. Hi Sandhya, hi Savita.
Hello. Bela, can you admit people? Are you able to see?
They're coming on their own now. I can see them.
No, I just admitted.
Oh, you admitted. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. You all can switch on your cameras so we can also see you.
But I'm not able to see the people who are requesting, so I think you will have to admit them inside.
Yes.
We just wait a couple of more minutes for everyone to log in.
Yes. Sandhya, Savita, where are you from?
Yeah, hi. I'm Savita
Hello.
here from Dehradun.
Dehradun.
Yes.
Oh, how lovely.
One second, I'll just switch on my. Actually, I was relaxing in my bed, and I thought, let my
Don't
video
worry,
be.
you can relax on your bed.
Video be off because
Savita is
when
a
you.
very good, very dear friend of mine. We are neighbors in
Oh,
Dehradun.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So when I have my video on, means I have to come and sit properly. So.
Don't
So I'll
worry,
just.
get your cup of
I
chai.
will have it on for some time. Yes.
You can get your cup of chai and sit because the time is
Yeah.
also such.
Yeah, chai time will be after some time.
After
I'm
you hear
fine.
Kusum speak.
No, I will hear everyone. I want to listen to everyone.
You'll
It's
only
a
hear me
wonderful
today.
topic.
Yeah,
It's
you'll only hear me today.
Today only Kusum.
Only
Yeah,
me.
other two will be. When are other two? Yeah, I saw 3 names.
So, Bela and Amrit, this is their show. ABCD is Amrita.
Okay. So today's speaker is only Kusum. Huh? Oh,
Yes.
good.
Only Kusum.
Good. Yeah. So Kusum, I have heard many times, and it's always pleasure to hear her over and over again. So
Thank you, dear. Thank
it's
you.
always something new to learn.
Yes, mindfulness.
Hi, Sudeshna. Oh, I can see Binaifa is in the waiting room.
Oh, great, Binaifer, my dear
So
friend.
sweet. Binaifer also has come. How sweet.
Yeah.
Hi Binaifer, how are you doing?
Hi, Binaifa.
Very well. Hi, Kusum. Hi.
Hi, Binaifer. Nice seeing you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having. Hi, Bela.
Hi sweetie, how are you doing? Thank you. Nice to see you on this platform though.
Different time. I've joined without the video, so I'm sorry I'm not able to turn on my camera.
No worries, no worries.
Hello, Amrita.
Hi, Pinaiva. Is there a problem from our end that you can't put it on? Or
No. I joined that way, just thinking it's okay.
don't
Don't
worry,
worry.
just relax and
I
enjoy
know.
your.
Everyone's rest
Yeah.
time. Actually, this is all about, relaxing and breathing. So no, not an issue at all.
And you know what I love about this online thing is it's convenient that you can sit in your own house the way you are with your cup of chai and sit and
Enjoy.
enjoy and learn.
Yeah.
True.
And in the comfort of your own home
Yeah.
and at your time. Should I think it's 4 o'clock. Should I?
Yes. Let's
Done.
continue. Whoever can join, they'll join in.
Yeah.
But the volume is not coming. Just
You can't see Bella.
no, just on the volume. Now you can't. You've not done that. Click the circle below.
Oh,
That's
okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, if I may just tell you all, if you want to check your Facebook, because if you put it on live stream, you can't see anything there. It says turn off video.
Oh, all right. I did.
At least on my device, it's coming.
Just check.
Okay, just check Bella.
Yeah. Just check this.
It shows that I'm live on Facebook here.
But are you on your own page or the ABCD?
On the
Yours.
ABCD page.
I'm on ABCD. Good evening, Mr. Narendra. Nice to see you. And thank you for joining in, even though a short notice.
Yeah, it's on, Amrita.
Nice to see you. And thank you for joining in. Hi, I'm Amrita Rajpal. I'm an early years specialist. I've been teaching for 22 years, but I've been learning my whole life. And that's why I have a company named Edu Learn Grow. I'm passionate about creating learning environments that are engaging, meaningful, and fun for children. I'm also a sports nutritionist, an avid traveler, an active Rotarian. I'm the territory head for the Early Childhood Association Mumbai. I'm the founder of Edu Learn Grow and the co-founder of the ABCD show.
Hi, I'm Bela Kutwani, also known as Big B. Big for the size of my heart and B for Bela. A fun-loving person with a great sense of humor and a passionate pickleball player. National Core Committee member of Early Childhood Association, founder and principal Cosmic Kids International, co-founder Puppet Maestros and the ABCD show. An educationist and a puppeteer who helps teachers to make learning fun for children by using puppets as a tool for teaching. My vision is to help parents and teachers raise emotionally intelligent children.
Welcome to season 2 of the ABCD show. First of all, we'd like to thank all our viewers for viewing our show, for being so committed to your own learning, and for showing us all your love. We are all geared up to get you the best educators to enhance your skills and to take your knowledge to new heights.
We have some really exciting basket of offerings. We have our ABCD shows where we will call experts to talk about their best practices. We will introduce you to some really value for money and effective products and services. And we have some incredible courses that will help you gain mastery in the subject.
Season 2 has a different format. We will have Ask Amrita and Bela on alternate Wednesdays, where you will ask us your questions on child development and we will revert. And on the other 2 Wednesdays, we will have ABCD shows with speakers, or will showcase new products or new ideas and innovations.
So, parents and teachers, email us your questions on topics relating to early childhood development, education, and rearing on the ABCD Show 6@gmail.com. And we will be back with the answers on Facebook Live. Waiting to see you soon.
So welcome everybody to the ABCD show. And I think people are still coming in. I'm admitting a few more. So wonderful having all of you here. Mindfulness means maintaining a moment by moment awareness of our thoughts, our feelings, our body sensations, and our surrounding environment. Mindfulness also means that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings. And I'm sure all of us are super excited to know how this gets translated into the classroom. We have with us Kusum Kanwar today, who's going to be talking to us about the science of mindfulness and how we can use it with early years children. I think, do I need to change the setting over here? Can everybody see?
I think just make it speaker view right now. That'll be better.
Yes, I think that this is better. Correct. Yes. So we have Dr. Kusum Kanwar. She's the honorary Doctor of Philosophy in Education. And Dr. Kusum Kanwar is a high school principal. She's an early childhood educationist, an edupreneur, a social evangelist, a multi-awardee trainer and mentor. She's participated in a lot of national and international panel discussions, conferences, talk shows. She's been a participant and a speaker. And she works on the premise of mindfulness, innovation, and collaboration in education, beginning from the early years. So the founder of and she's the founder and MD of KKKLS Learning Systems, operating Kangaroo Kids, Kandivali, and Lokhandwala and Andheri, of course, ex-COVID. She's a self-confessed educational transformer. I love that term, Kusum. A lifelong learner who passionately believes in the power of learning and bringing change. And she supports effective learning. And that's been her life's aim. She initiated Addupskill and Unplugged Sessions, a research and development company that designs social emotional sessions and K-12 school consultations pan-India. I also want to say that Kusum and I know each other now from, Kusum, how many years is it? 20?
More than 20, I think, because yeah, it's almost 20 years of
more than 20 years.
More than 20 years.
So we really go back a long way.
I know. We work together. So
we work together. Yes, and we've had a lovely time working together. So it's absolutely wonderful having you on the ABCD show. Thank you so much, Kusum, for being here.
Welcome, Kusum, from me as well to be on our show. And I must say, Kusum is a wonderful human being and a great friend. So, Kusum, so nice of you to come on our platform and share your knowledge with all of us. Thank you. Over to you, and the stage is all yours.
Yes, thank you, Bela. I just want to say that, these are two wonderful, wonderful ladies and girls in my life. And for Bela, I think we were getting on this platform since December, but somehow I was doing the ECA APER workshops on Wednesdays and 4 p.m. So we just couldn't get the time to come in here. And I'm so grateful. And thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you, ABCD show, Miss Amrita, Miss Bela, for creating this. It's a significant platform to speak today on the power of mindfulness in our lives. So I will just not be touching early years because I think, it's with all of us that, when we touch mindfulness in our daily lives, as teachers, as mommies, as parents, as a community, it makes a difference to the children, automatically, because if we embody it, that's where it goes to. I'll be emphasizing its importance in education, of course, starting from early childhood. And it's always been a pleasure connecting with both of you, and thank you so much. So it all starts here with us. It's so pertinent, it's so important, bringing into the present with so much going around, which impacts and eventually impacts, children, because it impacts us and children's well-being, of whom we are sometimes not even aware of how it's affecting them. I'll start, sharing my screen. And let me go with this. So this is a little bit about me, and I've compiled this presentation, standing on the strong shoulders of, you can say, stalwart, researchers like Sean Aker, Matthew Killingsworth, and Daniel Gilbert. My trainer, Manish Behel, founder, Mindful Science Center, Harvard Research Study, Alan Watkins, who speaks of focusing on 2 dimensions of our breathing. That's rhythm and smoothness. Mindfulness is as, simple as that. So in my view, we need mindfulness in education. Can you see my screen here?
Kusum,
I
we
can't see
can't
your
see the
screen right now.
You can?
No, we can't.
All right, so I wonder why. So I did share screen. All right. Now
Yes,
it's
Kusum.
Yes, we can see.
now it's visible, right? So in my view, why we need mindfulness in education, and it definitely belongs to us here, starting at the early years, very rightly said by both of you, is best summed up by this quote that, the function of education is to bring about an integrated individual who is capable of dealing with life as a whole. I love that. I think most of you all will love that. And that to me makes a lot of sense. So now think about this, you can deal with life as a whole. I think you have to deal with yourself as a whole, right? So among other things, we are made up of, our mind, our body, and our heart. And negotiating our way through this human journey requires us to employ all of these components in relationship to one another. Now, education has done well to engage our brains, right? And sometimes our bodies too. Nevertheless, we are still at large in education when it comes to actually teaching us how our minds work, and chiefly in relation to emotions. So that's basically what I'm going to talk about today. And we hear a lot about the 21st century learning skills, and we somehow miss that life skills are a part of those, and definitely we are not thinking of teaching how children's minds work. So when we are genuinely interested, in helping ourselves and children deal with life, we need to teach them how their minds work. So, firstly, mindfulness helps us to acknowledge and listen to our heart. So my heart says we need to help students do the same. And for that, we help teachers do the same. Help families, help parents, help friends, and help the community to just need to listen to their hearts, right? So I'm listening. What about you? Well, the fact is that listening to my heart and understanding my emotions is key to living a happy and a fulfilled life. And coming to the topic today, are you mindful or are you mindful? So I'm just giving you the session agenda here, because mindfulness is a way of life and it's a very, very huge topic. And today we'll just touch upon a few aspects of mindfulness. I'll just take you through what's mindfulness. We will have some mindfulness activities. There are stories and exercises, sorry about the double S, science behind mindfulness, benefits and strategies and practices. So that's what we'll just cover shortly today, right? Now, I'm going to credit the course creators and Mindfulness Science Center and Awaken Mind Australia, from where I've done my Mindfulness Foundation course training. Mr. Manish Behel is the founder of Mindfulness Science Center and Mindfulness India Summit. So he is India's first mindfulness TEDx speaker and specialist in cultivating mindfulness. So humble gratitude to Manish Behel, my mentor and my trainer. So please to touch base with me in case you want, to experience this course. Now, coming to being mindful or mindful, let's check what are we. So let me share a fable with you. It's a very famous fable. Some of you may be knowing it as well. Why I start with the story is, and Bela and Amrita will definitely agree that, these are the base of immortalizing messages, right? Because they do a lot themselves. So there are two monks, right? Yes, me and no me. So they're returning back to the monastery after a day of teaching in a nearby village. Now they are just about to cross the river when they hear a woman crying. Yasmi walks up to her and asks her what is troubling her. So she needed to get back to her toddler who was living on the other side of the village across the river. That's her home. Now, since the river had risen that day, she was feeling miserable. That she won't be able to get back to her toddler, and a child would cry for her all night. So on hearing her, Yasmi volunteers to help her. He carries her across the river and drops her on the other side. And then both Yasmi and Nomi, they continue with their walk. But half an hour into the walk, Nomi, in a very, very agitated tone, speaks up and he says, Yasmi, do you know what you have done? So Yasmi looks at him very inquisitively and asks, what? Nomi says, our master said never to speak to a woman and you touched her. Our master said never to touch a woman and you carried her. So Yasmi calmly looks at Nomi and says, of course, yes, Nomi, that is true. I had carried her, but I have dropped the woman half an hour back. Nomi, it is you who still carry her, right? So getting back to our story, what do Yasmi and Nomi represent? These are two states of minds, right? As primarily everyone lives only in these two states, which are, one is a stressful state and the other is a no stress state called a beautiful, happy state. So for that is how life feels when you live stress-free or free of stress. Normally, what does stress refer to? You all can put down in your chats as well. Let it be as interactive. It refers to tension. It can be anger. It's fear, right? It can be hurt. It can also be loneliness. It could be frustration. So these are all stressful states. And what is a beautiful state? Have a state of connection, of joy, of happiness, of love, right? Of compassion. Anything else that comes to your minds? Of kindness, energy, liveliness, and of course, passion, right? So if you're not in a beautiful state, then what will your default state be? Yes, that's the state of stress, worry, and your mind is full of that sometimes.
Depression.
Right? Yes, depression as well. And that's a huge word because that's where we will also be talking about mental health, why mindfulness is so important. So actually mindfulness is a no-brainer. You actually see, it's become a big word, mindfulness, but it's actually a no-brainer. As the problem is most of us spend far, too much time lost in distraction of the past or the future, what's going to happen or what happened. So this is called a default brain network. Now this default state can lead us to stress, premature aging, it leads to depression, it leads to anxiety and illness as well. So the state that Nomi was in, right, his mind was full. And whereas, because that's the reason he put the questions to Yasmi. Whereas Yasmi's mind was mindful to the problem the woman faced. He resolved it and moved on. And now he was in a happy state, right? So what does mindfulness do? Yes, it helps us wake up from the default network and develop a habit of being continuously present, being in the present. Right, so maybe y'all can put down in the chat and let me know how many of you are in the present here today. with the video on or off and in a happy state of mind. Probably you put it in the chat, I will definitely read it. So think, which one do you choose to be in? Being mindful, F-U-L, or being mindful? So we all want to end stress. We all want to end unhappiness and anxiety, and live in a beautiful state. That is what mindfulness does when we practice mindfulness. Now, let me take you away from the story, for a bit, for a tiny experience, you can say, of meditation, right? You can close your eyes for the best experience. That is, if you want to experience that, and even with your videos off, inhale and exhale, right? So we are doing inhale and exhale, deep and slow. And with every exhale, raise the edges of your lips into a gentle smile. Now, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Raise the edges of your lips into a gentle smile. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Right. So slowly open your eyes. Do you recognize that with a little attention to your breath, what do we do with inhale and exhale? We just gave a little attention to our breath and a smile to your face. You can feel more calm and more present in this moment. So, I know that you're there with me. And this is the power of peace, and that is always within you, no one else. Your power of peace is with you. It's with nobody else, right? So we will do one more exercise, which is, which is this, right? And this is the purpose of this exercise is to help examine what we believe are the causes and solutions for lasting happiness and contentment. So I invite you all to write your 3 wishes for lasting happiness in your life. Put it on a paper. Don't put it on a chat or put it, this is yours. So just put it on a journal next to you. And we will come back to it towards the end, right? So my first wish, what is your first wish, right? Your second wish and your third wish. Again, hold on to your wishes and now till the end. So I'll tell you mine. Mine is to make mindfulness available to all children, teachers, parents, and the community. And that's why I'm on this platform, and I go on different platforms to speak about it. So the wave of mindfulness has taken the corporate world, in mental health arenas, and even some governments, and it's slowly trickling into education. But why only slowly? As mindfulness is so simple, anyone can do it at any age, anywhere, and it's accessible. And here's what makes a difference. We need no school budgets because breathing is free, right? It's free. Oxygen may not have been some time back, but breathing is free, right? So how has mindfulness helped me? Through mindfulness, I feel my complete being has become less chaotic, and I'm able to balance my time and energy to activities that truly matter. So I'm sharing my experiences because, I've just trained as a mindfulness trainer. And so it helps, it helps me, it helps all of you all as well to understand what mindfulness has done to me. So rather than being stuck in the toxicity that used to take hold of me, I'm far more balanced, and calmer, and calmer as a personality, you can say. Yes, there are bad days, so breathing helps. So I intensely enjoy this, and it lets me see what is real instead of changing the moment or blocking the real. So the reality is all around us, right? But it's just that, it has made me see, what is real, right? And experience it. I just experienced, grief, you can say, a loss of my 14-year-old pet. And, we were able to come out of it in just about 22 days. But, because I was aware of the storm around me, but I felt the calm as well. And I was able to pinpoint the trigger around me and be mindful of it. Professionally, simple. One cycle of breath. There's gratitude, body scan meditations that were very powerful tools that have been helping me on days that are very overwhelming. So 2 things that I learned from this program: being aware of my triggers, right? Being non-judgmental and non-reactive. So the example of learning to ride a bicycle keeps on flashing in front of me. So think about a bicycle. When you're riding a bicycle, there's balance, there's movement, and to know how and when to stop. So that's the pause between the stimulus and response that teaches you. What has changed in me? So from multitasking, I now practice the power of single tasking, managing the sea of emotions, and practicing mindfulness. I've learned to stop, observe, and then proceed. Very simply, definition of mindfulness means paying attention to what's happening in the present moment, in the mind, in your body, and your external environment with an attitude of curiosity and kindness, right? So there are lots of definitions, but everything boils down to this kind of a definition. Mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment as it is, not to change anything. It's about noticing your thoughts, your emotions, noticing what's going on for you in the present moment without judgment. For me, it's a conscious way of engaging in life. And I have to tell you, I think mindfulness matters a lot. Practicing mindfulness in recent months has made my personal life, way better. I felt more connected to myself, because the whole life we look for connecting and understanding others, but we hardly connect with our own selves and, understand ourselves. So what's the science behind mindfulness, right? So we are going to, because there is a science behind it. So let's explore what is that science. The first one is research on happiness advantage. Mindfulness and happiness, they are interlinked. A study done by Sean Acker, one of the world's premier happiness researchers. That's who he is on your screens. So how we look for happiness from external sources rather than focusing on our internal thought process. You can also, go and check his TED talk by Sean Acker on happiness, and you'll get a whole lot of, what I'm speaking here in this section. So this is a 12-year study from Harvard, shows that only 10% of our happiness is determined by external conditions. The other 90% is from how we process the world. So what's the key to processing this word mindfulness? It's internal processing. Besides happiness, science also confirms mindfulness impacts relationships. I'll be talking about it later. Physical health, mental health, leadership, and more. So what is mindfulness? At its best, mindfulness is being in the present continuously. So when you want to be in the present moment, you just need to inhale and exhale with the corners of your lips turned up in a smile, as we did earlier. Remember that the power of peace is being in the present, and that's within each one of us, right? So, and when you notice that, you're peaceful and you have a relaxed body, open and clear heart, you feel good and happy about it, right? So what about when you are happy and stress-free? You will notice the same feelings, a relaxed and open, clear heart, right? So this is the connection between happiness and mindfulness, right? Now explaining, 2 very important parts of our brain, right? That's amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. Amygdala for emotions and prefrontal cortex for cognition. They both are situated in our brain. So firstly, amygdala and mindfulness. What's the role of amygdala and managing it through mindfulness? So, and why are we discussing it? Because with sustained mindfulness practice in daily life, we can see a huge difference, right? Extensive evidence indicates that amygdala and the prefrontal cortex are key structures in the response to stress and its effects on learning and memory, right? So neuroscientists have often described cognition and emotion as separable processes implemented by different regions of the brain, such as amygdala is for emotions and prefrontal cortex is for cognition. So functional interactions between amygdala and prefrontal cortex help in mediating our emotional influences on the cognitive processes. So our emotions will influence our decision making as well as cognitive regulation of our emotion. Amygdala is the integrative, you can say, a center for emotions, emotional behavior, and motivation. It's got stimulation of, amygdala causes intense emotion such as aggression. It could be aggression or fear and conflict. And this kind of a conflict creates havoc in our brains. For example, what happens when we sense a threat? We are groomed by evolution to protect ourselves, right? Whenever we are threatened, right? So, however, in our modern context, we don't fight like animals or run away like a rabbit from a fox, but our basic impulse to protect ourselves is automatic and unconscious. We have two amygdalas, one on each side of the brain, behind the eyes and the optical nerves. So Dr. Bessel van calls this brain's smoke detector. It's responsible for detecting fear and preparing our body for an emergency response. So when we perceive a threat, the amygdala sounds an alarm, releasing a cascade of chemicals in the body, which are stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. It floods our system, immediately preparing us for fight or flight. So when this deeply instinctive function takes over, we call it what Daniel Goleman coined it as amygdala hijack. So in common psychological parlance, we say we have been triggered, right? Or we sometimes say so-and-so child has a meltdown or so-and-so person has a meltdown. You've been triggered by something. So this amygdala hijack is psychological parlance, we can call it. We are triggered. We notice immediate changes like an increase of, heart palpitation or heart rate, sweaty palms, or breathing becomes more shallow and rapid, as we take in more oxygen, preparing to, bolt if we have to. So why we're talking about amygdala hijack is because, we need to understand why those certain emotions, sometimes you watch people, if some of them are experiencing something like that, right? So amygdala hijack, so what is it? Our brain is like a Teflon. Keep this in mind, is like a Teflon for good memories, means it slips away, and Velcro for bad memories. Bad memories, are like Velcro, and then we keep remembering those bad memories, which is good for survival, but not good for happiness. So the flood of stress hormones create sensations like, shaking in our solar plexus, limbs, or even our voice cracks sometimes. We may notice, heat flush our face, our throat is constricted, or the back of our neck tightens, or, we have set jaw as well. So we are in the grip of a highly efficient but prehistoric set of psychological responses. It's not that it's happening to that certain person, but it is there within us, right? And why we're talking about this is because we need to work on this, right? Because an active amygdala immediately shuts down the neural pathway to our prefrontal cortex, our cognition. So we become disoriented in the heated conversation. Complex decision making disappears, as does our access to multiple perspectives. As our attention narrows down, we find ourselves trapped in one perspective that makes us feel the most, that makes us feel most safe, which is that, what do we always say when we are trapped in something like this way? We say, yes, I am right and you are wrong. right? So if you notice, even though in calmer and happier times, we ordinarily see more or other perspectives when we are calm, right? But not in a heated discussion. At that point in time, we think that only we are right, the other person is wrong. And if that wasn't enough, our memory also becomes very untrustworthy, because you never remember, when you're in a fight with your partner or your friend or colleague, that you literally can't remember anything positive about them, right? So it's as though the brain drops the memory function altogether in an effort to survive that threat. So that's a survival instinct, right? So when our memory is compromised like this, we can't recall something from the past that might, actually help us calm down. In fact, we can't remember much of anything. Instead, we're simply filled with that flashing red light of amygdala, indicating danger, react, there's danger, protect yourself, danger, why don't you attack, So in the height of amygdala hijack, we can't choose how we want to react, because the old protective mechanism in the nervous system does it for us. So even before we glimpse that there could be a choice, it just reacts. So nevertheless, we are talking about this, but the good news is, with documented benefits of mindfulness on a regular basis for no more than a few minutes each day, you can see improved shifts, and improved capacity to focus, to quickly shift strategies, and to make better decisions for yourself, for your children at school, at home, and people around you, right? So that is the good news. Now, there are obstacles to mindfulness. So what are the obstacles? Mind wandering, right? Ruminating about the past or fantasizing about the future. So that's why we said, we need that breath to get us back into the present, right? Remember the Nomi in the story of Yes, Me and Nomi? He was still carrying the woman in his mind, and he was so unhappy about it. What was that? Mind wandering. I will refer to the study by Harvard psychologists Matthew Kellingsworth and Daniel Gilbert, who says that the study determines that a wandering mind is not a happy mind, as not being in the present, in the present moment, is a cause of happiness, of unhappiness. So it would perhaps come as no surprise if I were to tell you that a lot of time our mind wanders and isn't focused on what we are doing in the moment, right? Take an example of what you all are doing right now as well, right? And that's it should be your honest submission. So it's an essentially human capacity, actually, that our minds can wander, that we are able to think ahead and reflect upon what's already gone, or what's already happening, or what's going to happen. That is our our human capacity, right? Without these abilities, we would be unable to plan ahead or also make decisions, let alone conjure up our memories of wonderful moments of the past, right? So how we spoke about our connection 20 years back. Probably if we didn't go back in the past, we wouldn't have been able to talk about it. How our mind wandering comes with a cost, as it can lead to excessive negative emotional responses as well. We may spend time worrying about things that may never happen, dwelling on times that have caused us sadness or anger, and making comparisons between where we are or what we have now with where we were, wish to be, or what we might desire to have, right? So we need to balance this and keep coming back to the present. Now, in 2010, Harvard University researchers Matthew Kellingsworth and Daniel Gilbert, again, he set out to explore if a wandering mind really is unhappy. In fact, overall mind wandering, like I said, it happens 47 times, 47% of the time. That's almost half of the time people's minds were wandering. Or to put it in another way, people were only focused on what they were doing a little over half of the time, right? The researchers also found that people were substantially less happy when their mind was wandering, right? So we need to, think about something like that, a human mind is a wandering mind, and a wandering mind is unhappy mind. So when your mind is wandering, what happens to some task that we are doing? It goes on an autopilot, right? So we are going to be talking about autopilot and what is autopilot, and we can recall it again, the default mode network. So when your mind is wandering, what happens to some tasks that you were doing? It goes on an autopilot. As I said, we can call it our default mode network. Have you experienced it? How our mind is often on an autopilot and not fully involved in what we are doing in that moment. You can always share your thoughts in the comment section, the chat section. I will definitely see it. And so, do you remember brushing your teeth this morning? Of course you do, right? What about the experience of brushing your teeth? How about the experience of eating your breakfast and lunch yesterday? How about it today? Right? Now, according to researchers, we operate on an autopilot nearly half of the time, leaving our minds free to wander, right? Because we put it on an autopilot, so our mind is wandering. And so it's also mentioned that autopilot is good, but if done all the time, it can bring in inefficiency and underperformance. For any of us, no matter how well or unwell we feel with regard to our mental health, training the mind to wander less can create positive change, and this need be huge. it need not be huge. It need not be time-consuming tasks. We can start small, really paying attention to what? To taste of the food that we eat, like eating a bowl of salad, right? Looking at the variety of veggies in our bowl, the colors, the taste, listen to the freshness of the crunchy veggies, and not just sitting with a bowl of salad or food, and then we are going through our messages or WhatsApp, right? So there are various ways, strategies in which mindfulness can be practiced and how we can bring back attention to being in the present. It can be as routine as, like I said, brushing your teeth. You know, the taste of the toothpaste. Feel its freshness. Feel the texture of your toothbrush in their bristles. Concentrate on the motion of your brushing, splashing and swirling of water in your mouth. What about driving to school, to your office on an autopilot? Times when you don't even realize you have already reached your workplace. I've done it so many times earlier. So bring back awareness when you are driving, you know, like watch the road, watch the greenery, watch what's changed, a new metro station, maybe a new pillar, a new billboard. So while stopping at signal lights as well, you know, hearing the sound of our engine and not just going and grabbing our phones and checking WhatsApp messages, because that can also be dangerous. So I have banged into people forward and, you know, at the back as well, doing something like this. So notice our breath at points during the day. Example, each time we step into the shower or we brush our teeth, investing effort in developing present moment awareness is something that's worthwhile for all of us. Like I said, it could be the drive home on freeways in stop and go traffic, a run with your headphones on the time it takes to brush your teeth is a no-no. It's the place where you're completely alone with your thoughts. What comes to your mind? Where you can completely be alone in your thoughts. You know, you can always put it in the chat or just put it in your journal as well. So how about in the shower? How many of you think that, the shower is a place where we can do a lot of mind wandering? Because it does happen. Because we are very prone to mind wandering when we are in a shower, because it requires relatively less thought compared to something like cooking, right? In cooking, still we are, in the present, because what have we put? Salt dala hai, haldi dali hai, namak dala hai, or sometimes if we are not, if our mind is wandering, then either, the masala or the salt goes twice in there. So we are a little bit more careful there. So why he thought Killingsworth said, why he thought mind wandering made people unhappy is when our mind wanders, I think it really blunts the enjoyment of what we are doing, right? So for most of us, the shower itself is not an unpleasant experience, right? But any pleasure we might derive from the tactile experience of the hot water is muted because our minds are elsewhere, because we are not experiencing that, on ourselves. Even when our thoughts wander to pleasant things like an upcoming vacation, it's said that the imagined pleasure, that the real thing, would give you is far less vivid, and you would have enjoyed more in when you actually go for a vacation than just thinking about it. So if we could observe the mental script and divert ourselves back to the present moment while washing our hair, also see what is that experience. Just journal it and think about it. Once you do it tomorrow. So each time we succeed in being mindful or our body, in moments of distress, we can develop our capacity and capability. We may observe something new when it occurs. It is called a moment of pause. So it's very important that, how can we practice mindfulness? We can call it strategies, we can call it practices or anything. Now, there are two kinds of practices. I'm going to mention the formal and the informal. So in the formal, practices are done while sitting, right? But there are standing or walking meditations as well, which are done with a purpose and use breath as an anchor or awareness to your environment or your sensations, experiencing stillness and noticing your body, thoughts, your emotions, sensations, with curious, open, compassionate, non-judgmental awareness. And we have also successfully been doing this, with our little children at our school, and also in our initiative, with the primary kids on Just Give. So it is possible also with smaller children. So formal and informal, everybody knows that it helps to breathe, and so there are many different qualities of the breath, but we only need to learn about two things, that's rhythm and smoothness. As Alan Watkins explains in his book, that if you focus on these two dimensions, even for a few short minutes, try it today, the production of the cortisol and adrenaline will stop. To breathe rhythmically means that the in-breath and out-breath occur repeatedly in the same intervals. So if we inhale, try this, write it down, counting 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you inhale and then exhale, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then inhale again, counting again 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what establishes rhythm. You can establish rhythm in whichever way you want. I have given you one example of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So each time we succeed, again, I'm repeating, in being mindful of our body in moments of distress, what do? Right? We develop our capacity and capability. So, so before we know, if we start practicing this, our old habits of fight or flight is changing, and the world seems to be a safer place. Now, what is formal practice? We already spoke of, breath rhythmically means that in-breath and out-breath occur repeatedly at the same intervals. Now, do a simple meditation exercise of watching one's breath. So you need to, you need to have a formal time commitment of just for a few minutes to a few hours, depending upon the kind of time you have, right? So purpose of formal meditations are to cultivate what habits and formally train our mind to stay in the present moment. So you can try this, inhale, counting 1 to 4, and exhale, and counting 1 to 5, and the sixth one is your moment of pause. So there is I have this video, but I will not be playing it simply because sometimes we do have this problem with the video on Zoom. But you can copy this link, https YouTube, and you can check on this benefits of mindfulness as well, because there's a character called Jack in here, and this slide explains various ways in which mindfulness can be practiced, and we already discussed mind wandering in our daily work and how we can bring back attention to being in the present, like eating a bowl of salad, and also brushing our teeth, getting into the shower. Go for a walk without your phone or an iPod. Listen to the birds. Feel the earth below you, feel the morning freshness on your face, and don't make or receive a call or to explain while you walk, right? Or that phone from your relative on a wedding prep. So don't do all these things. So if you go for a walk, just go for a walk. So how being in the present moment and being non-judgmental, we can train our brain to integrate this practice in our everyday activities, thoughts, and attitudes is informal practice. And you will find this, in this video, because there are proven benefits of mindfulness, how it can literally change the structure and function of the brain to think more clearly and make better decisions, reducing cognitive rigidity and experiencing greater flexibility, right? You can understand what Jack saw, because the character here is Jack, was he saw an obvious connection between mindfulness and leadership performance. And he was further convinced that when he learned that research showing that leaders who practice mindfulness are far more honest and transparent. So he became more self-aware, and over time became more respectful and kind and empathetic as well. Now let's look at this employee success dashboard. Mindfulness training for leaders is positively correlated to job performance of employees and their work-life balance. That's direct reports of leaders who are more mindful, they perform better and look after themselves better. So even in leadership, mental health, look at the job satisfaction, 22%. Leadership is 38%, mental health is 32%. So mindfulness brings focus and builds efficiency in workplace. That's an important skill in today's times. Also, let's look at the SAP study. SAP is a research study that means systems, application, and products in data processing. So on our screen shows what difference was made in 6 weeks of training, and then how it was first happiness and well-being practice for 4 weeks, then it goes up by 8%. In 6 weeks, it goes up 14.5%. So the 2 weeks that caught moment, in the last 2 weeks, or 2 weeks, you could say 4 weeks, and then the 6 weeks, that's your 2 weeks, it got momentum, and with 6.50 increase. The last 2 weeks got momentum and increased to 6.5. Secondly, meaning and satisfaction in 4 weeks rose to 10%, and further in next 2 weeks reaching 17.70%. You can see again, third, ability to focus increased to 22% in 6 weeks. And so actually additional 2 weeks increases the range. It got momentum. So since mindfulness helps in staying calm and non-reactive to situations, that has a positive effect on maintaining and managing relationships too. So mindfulness is essential for maintaining well-being by stopping the mental chatter and disturbances. It helps in managing stress. So happiness we've already covered. We had already done this, covered in the beginning to a great detail about a 12-year study from Harvard. Now, it's no wonder, that so many organizations on your screen are practicing mindfulness. Thanks to a growing mountain of scientific proof, mindfulness has gone mainstream. And yes, businesses are taking notice. And so actually, if, when we are practicing mindfulness at this stage, my only point is, why are we not doing it at the school level? Okay. And because the benefits are manifold, like you see on your screen, right? So no wonder, personalities from Bill Gates to Tim Ferriss, to even Jeff Weiner, your CEO LinkedIn, Jack Dorsey, CEO Twitter, to Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Novak Djokovic, then James LeBron, and many mega and renowned companies are raving about the positive impact of mindfulness on businesses and personal life. So research has already studied the huge shift in people and the impact mindfulness has in their daily lives, right? So also there's, in 2008, only 8 research papers were there on mindfulness, where, that were published in scientific journal. Vis-a-vis, there were 1,203 research papers in 2019, and definitely growing by the day. So let me conclude and summarize now. The power of peace is always within us, taking us back to our story of yes, me and no me, what they represent actually, right? These are the two states of being. One is being in a stressful state and one is being in a happy state. So which one do you choose to be? And also, please understand that mindfulness is not suppression. It's not avoiding, it's not denying or delaying of thoughts. Mindfulness is about being aware of your thoughts, your emotions with complete acceptance, which helps in strengthening of self with an attitude, remember, with an attitude of kindness, empathy. We also talked about curiosity, and we talked about gratitude. It simply is being aware of what is happening to me, what is being aware of what is happening to the other, what is happening in the environment, how am I impacting the other in a certain environment. Just remember, the I skills plus V skills is equal to mindfulness. So again, wrapping up with this 90-second pause that's there on your screens, this is the difference between a reaction and a response. Recall, amygdala indicating danger, react, danger, protect, and danger, attack. So next time you encounter a stressful or a conflicting situation, try something different. Try to pause, to allow a little space, to take a deep breath, right? Then try to envision where the space might lead you. What new possibilities for common ground do you see? What new ways of expressing do you observe? So granted, it's often very hard to break with patterns, which are established long back. But when you allow that quiet of that space to guide you instead of your raw emotions, you begin to consciously and intentionally choose a response, leading you down a different path, right? So last slide, there's a storm that's brewing outside. What do you choose to do? Reacting is instinctual, as they say. It's a good thing that it's in the right place, but responding is a conscious choice we all have, right? React and respond, we've heard it so many times, right? But responding is a conscious choice we have. None of us are born with an operating manual of how to live our life in different scenarios. In situations like the one we are all in now, it has impacted each one of us in some way or the other. And most of us have learned to navigate our lives through many areas. Some areas we are still coping with in the surroundings we are in and the people that we are in with some adjustments, learning how to redirect our attention to the present moment, right? So with understanding, with kindness, love, calmness, for many. So it's tremendously reducing the unnecessary stress also, right? So also, let me end this by saying that, between stimulus and response, there's a space. So in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response, lies our growth and our freedom. Always remember, I'll end with this, remember the amygdala hijack and the 90-second formula. So thank you for your time and being here with us today. Thank you so much. And also there are lots of topics that I would have liked to mention, but because we don't have much time, maybe we have some questions. So I'm ready to take some questions. Thank you so much. Is that okay? Can I stop share? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Kusum.
Thank
In
you.
fact, if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself one by one and ask Kusum. Any questions from anyone? Kusum, I had one question. Let me start with my question first.
Right.
You said to breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4 and exit was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6 is a pause. So what was the reason for that 5 and not 4?
Yeah, so it can be. So when you breathe in, it comes in faster. So it can be your count. This is my count. It is your rhythm. It's how you need to maintain a rhythm. It has to be rhythmic. So we are talking about breath as just being rhythmic, right?
Okay.
So it can be yours.
Yeah.
It can be yours. Yes, it can be anything that's yours.
Anybody else for any questions?
Yes, may I, ma'am?
Yes, please. Who's that?
Yeah, ma'am, I just want to ask, you are saying if you are in the bathroom, be in a present, feel the, while brushing the teeth, feel the sensation. Ma'am, but we, are educators, we, plan. It's our planning a day. We are not, it's not possible to be in present because we, plan the whole day. So what we do, ma'am?
So, see, I'll talk about multitasking also here. There's multitasking, and I also spoke about it that, what changed in me from multitasking to single tasking. So, keep in mind that anything that we do for 52 minutes and then we take a 17-minute break, that's where we get maximum performance, and we don't underperform. So anything as educators we want to do, we actually want to do it well, right? You just don't want to go around your tasks and underperform in anything. So why would you be thinking about something else? Because this is your me time. If you don't give time to yourself, who will? If you don't understand yourself, who will? If you don't connect with yourself, who else will connect with you? Right? So you must have that kind of time for yourself as well. I'm not talking about just disconnecting, but being aware, being in the present moment of what you are doing. If you're cooking, just cook. Not that, sometimes we do have, so if I have something happening, I have both my or 3-4 email IDs up, all my windows are up, my presentation is up, my phone is up, my WhatsApp is up. So how can we work through these so many devices? We cannot do it because each time I come back to the next task, it takes me 15 minutes for my brain to reorient, because the brain is made that way. That it takes time for the brain to again understand what I was on. It's just not immediately that I've come from one area of my work, like I'm probably cooking in the kitchen and I'm now come to answer an email. So my orientation is not there. So if you want to perform well in your job, in your life, you have to be single tasking all the time.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Kusum, this reminds me of a book I read by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful book where, you're in the present moment.
Yeah.
Because most of us are either in the past or in the future.
Absolutely.
But not in the present.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Ashraf. Single tasking. Yes, single tasking is something that I also learned during my training, as a mindfulness trainer. So that's something which is really working well. You can try this. You are at a task, just do that for 52 minutes at a go. And I've been able to achieve more doing something like that, and take a 17-minute break. There's also another thing, there's another theory that I read was you take a 25-minute continuous task and then you can take a 5-minute break as well. But I prefer the 52 minutes and 17 minutes break. That gives me
you can complete your task in time. That really helps.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm at it. My brain is working for 52 minutes on that, and then I take a break or do whatever I have to do, and then come back again for 52 minutes. So you can plan your day. You need to plan it. Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone?
Also think about this. There are 3 C's, and also, at this point in time, I'm going to talk about a few things which you all can go back and think about it as well. So, just think about, you can say topics I can mention and try to make a connection with mindfulness, right? So we have made a difference to about thousands of mommies and educators, in the last 20 weeks alone, just doing these about 20, 30 topics ourselves. So, think about gratitude. If you have a paper pen, you can write it down. Think about kindness, think about emotional intelligence, think about compassion and connectedness, dealing with common patterns of anxiety, distress, building focus through stories, in children, growth mindset. What is growth mindset? It's reflection, attention, the power of pause, benefits of stillness in our lives, and emotional regulation. think of the 3 C's. What are those 3 C's? Making choices. Take a chance to make changes. You cannot make a change till you don't take a chance and you don't make a choice, right? And these 3 C's is equal to life. Very simple thing. Think multitasking and power of single tasking. Think about it. Most of all, create a self-care movement. So because on an average, research says we are creating about 70 to 80,000 thoughts in a day. So these 70 to 80,000 thoughts in a day, they're all buzzing in our head, right? And that creates a vibration. So these thoughts and vibrations are not going to stay in my head alone. It's going to vibrate. It's affecting my feelings or what I think. The 70, 80,000 thoughts. And that's my feelings are connected to my mental health. My every thought radiates to my body, and that also affects my physical health. So however good my diet may be, my exercise regime be, if I'm not thinking right, I'm not creating the right emotions. So every thought that I radiate, it creates my relationships, and my every thought radiates to the environment as well. So even the environmental health is influenced by my thought, by each one of us over here. So there are 36 of us here. So imagine the 80,000 thoughts that we carry and how we are impacting each other. Out of the 120 people who registered, how many of us are here today? Because we are, impacting each other. So that is the kind of, connection that we all have, because we wanted to know about mindfulness, right? So it is what, it is what you think, what you want to make of what you want to do is this is your choice. And then you took a chance, right? And probably you'll make a change. So these 3 C's also, apply to all of us that are here. We are here. Also, we need to destigmatize mental health, right? As it actually deals with my thoughts, my emotions. Firstly, it's not a general thing, right? When we change the way we look at mental health and make sure, that every person has access to caregivers, they have treatment, they have funds needed to properly address mental health, we will be on the road to self-care, right? Let's commit to sharing our knowledge that can change mindsets. Like this ABCD show with Bela and Amrita, they are bringing to you week after week in an attempt to what? To change mindsets, right? Like I also talked about so many topics in mindfulness. If I'm, I'll be very happy to come and share about all of these if, if I'm given any platform, because I do have another platforms where I talk about these things. So we need to commit to sharing the knowledge that we have. Also, let's, stop trying to go alone in a journey like this, in a self-care movement journey. When we take time to, create space in our schedule for others, like all of us are doing today, right? And, when we do that, when we organize and meet up with our friends and, these social groups, even when we exchange a few thoughtful emails, and today when we are talking to each other, what are we doing? What is Bela and what is Amrita doing? They're building communities of care, and they're fueling the self-care revolution. Each time, making sure our own needs are met is as important as taking care of those we love the most. And why we are saying this, why intentional care for ourselves or for yourself is needed. I forgot who asked that question about, that you're rushing around. Why it is needed now more than ever, as besides disinfecting and washing our hands, we need to take care of our heart and spirit at all times. Like I said, now more than ever. And you put on that proverbial oxygen mask on first, before you tend to your family, before to your community, to the world, your school, your children, right? Because a better world starts with the best version of me. How does it sound? A little self-centered, you think? Or is it self-love? Whichever it is. Well, we just want you to embrace that feeling for a moment. Embrace it for a moment. Let it settle into your body and make itself comfortable, because we are here to help you understand how focusing on your own health and wellness can lead to a better world, and being mindful. So if you all want to repeat with me, that a better world starts with the best version of me, right? A better world starts with the best version of me. So I would
love that
just,
statement.
I would just say
Wow.
this.
Lovely.
I'm just reading the chats as well. If someone, Benaifer, make a choice, take a chance, create change. Thank you, please. Yes. Oh, someone, they wanted to know the 3 C's. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
At this point, I want to say that these kind of, talks cannot be heard just once. There is so much that is given that you need to hear it again and again. Please go back either on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel and re-look at this. And, actually sit and make that journal, like Kusum said, introspect, reflect, think about it. And then I think you will see the change yourself and you will find your way yourself. This is a journey of the self.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It begins with you, you first do it yourself, embody it yourself, and then pass it on to others. If you don't do it yourself, we will not be able to help anyone else.
So I think we should end the session here today.
Yes,
it was
yes,
lovely,
absolutely.
a lovely session and very, very enlightening for all of us to, of course, be more mindful in our lives. So thank you for sharing that with all of us.
Thank you so much. It was really
practice
wonderful.
What Kusum has explained to us this time.
Yes. And sometimes we could all use a reminder to be, more mindful, because in our over scheduled worlds, so much of our mental energy is committed to our to-do list, right? Like how one of our participants said, it's a to-do list and calendars that, we are almost always mentally in the future and thinking about what's coming next instead of being truly in the present. We start planning our work day while making our coffee. Instead of enjoying the morning ritual or thinking about friends and colleagues, we need to, we start thinking about colleagues, friends. We need to respond to or on our walks, instead of noticing the greenery around us, what we are doing. Oh, we have to do this and we have to do this.
Mind is always talking to you something or the other.
Yes, mind chattering. Yeah, or
yes.
Yeah. So we can start off like this. Probably Amrita, Bela, you can start off, some weekly things where we all gather and we can do this mindful breathing as well and do something about it. Yeah.
I think that sounds wonderful. I think people work very well in a community anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have a community over here.
Yeah.
So it would be lovely.
Thank you.
Bela, can you put up our YouTube channel link and our Facebook link? Neeru Gandhi.
Yeah, thank you, Neeru. Thank you. We've been getting really lovely messages from Neeru as well. Thank you so much for this.
I think everybody
a delightful, meaningful session. Really, I must say.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bela and Amrita, for arranging this. Thank you.
Thank you, Benaifer.
If there's any other question also, if you want to put it up, right now it's a paucity of time, but I will reply even on the ABCD.
Please write on our Thought Leaders group or write on our ABCD show group, and then we'll surely pass on all the messages to Kusum.
Yeah.
And knowing Kusum, she will be happy to answer it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm on this journey. So I'm on this mindfulness journey. I'm not only a trainer, I'm a practitioner as well. So, right.
I know we could see that you were living it.
Yeah.
So
I'm talking with all the passion that you were feeling for the mindfulness. I could see that as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Kusum, once again. It was a pleasure having you on our platform, and we'll call you once again for sure.
I'll be ready.
Thank you, Kusum.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Take
everyone. Thank you for coming on the ABCD show.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.